Well guys, good afternoon. Today on this video actually we're going to be doing a little bit of a week's forecast, week's analysis. Basically something that I like doing on Sundays usually, or maybe Saturdays, to try to understand what we could see through the week, right? Multiple things that could actually happen through the week. And on the past few weeks, literally a few weeks, because it was the past two, I got wrong the bias partially because I was expecting bearish price action and we actually got bullish price action. And if we were to analyze it from the 1 hour, we can clearly see why. Because if we put it like, let's actually look at it from the sort of like the 3 hour maybe. Yeah. We'll look at it from here. We have sell side liquidity being taken back here. Aggressive move higher. Retracement mitigates 50%. Mitigates maybe an order block. Fair value gap for sure. Continues going higher. A little bit of a range. Continuation higher. Now, somewhat of a small change in the trend. Wouldn't call it that small, but definitely a retracement, a change in the trend for a bit. Sell side liquidity taken both here and on this low, right? So areas where liquidity was taken, aggressive move higher, retracement, continuation higher, retraces, taken again, sell side liquidity right there to then continue going higher. And now we have the opportunity to say, I'm pretty confident that we could see price trading above this high, whether we're going to be bullish or bearish this week, right? So I'm not entirely sure what the bias will be for this week. Because let me actually show you this 4 hour. If we go to the 4 hour, we understand that this is what we've had for what? The past 256 days, almost a year, 100 days left for a year, basically 109 days left for a year. We can see that price was just going lower, retracement, lower, retracement, lower, retracement, lower, retracement, lower, retracement, potential continuation, right? Basically what I was expecting to happen for the past few weeks, but actually we got somewhat of the opposite for the past few weeks. As you can see, again, impulsive move higher, retracement, move higher, retracement, move higher, right? Basically this past week. So what can we expect from this week? As mentioned before, I'm very confident that we will trade above this high, whether we are bullish or bearish this week, due to the fact that we've taken this side, this sell side liquidity, right? And ideally, we're going to be looking for buy side liquidity, which in my opinion, the next run on buy side liquidity is this high. Now, what will happen after that is not something that I have really thought about, right? I think we have the opportunity for price to both go lower and to go higher. We could see price first trading higher to then retrace to then look for higher prices, maybe looking for this major high, this couple of equal highs that we have in the 1 hour. In the 4 hour, it looks just like a high. But if we look at it there, you can see how we have a couple of equal highs, right? And when we go to lower time frames, then even more. So basically that's something that we could see happening, right? Price going higher to then lower to then higher, seeking more buy side liquidity, or maybe just we get somewhat of a reversal, right? We change this major trend that we have for a bit, maybe again just for a bit, right? Just to trade a little bit higher, taking some buy side liquidity, or maybe even more, pulling all of that together, taking all of that and maybe then continuing lower, right? Or changing the direction for a little bit, right? Which I mean, it could happen, right? But I wouldn't bet on a major reversal in the major trend that we've been having for the past few weeks. So with this information, what is it that I can actually do? Of course, due to this, again, to what we just discussed, this major trend that we've had for the past few months, I would expect for price to continue going lower, right? For price to continue going lower. So ideally, we'd see buy side liquidity being taken aggressively as it can be, maybe even more buy side liquidity such as this highs, to then continue going lower. But at the same time, I do think that if we start trading higher than this, then honestly, then where we currently are, if we start trading higher than that, I would expect for this high to be taken a list and maybe even something further like this, and well, finally aiming to something like that, right? So that's gonna be a little bit complicated because I don't really like going for reversals like this, right? We've been having bullish price action, sorry, bearish price action for a long time. So I wouldn't just say, okay, the trend has probably changed based only on, well, it has been 3 weeks, I think. So yeah, 30 days, actually 2 months and a half, right? Maybe less than that. 2 months, right? Sorry, a month and a half, a month, or something like that. Thing is that with what we have currently, what I'd expect price to do if this trend is going to continue to be respected, which in my opinion, again, we have a lot of confluences because there's a lot of sell-side liquidity being taken and then a continuation higher from price. All that we can really see is that happening, right? As an example, what I would like to see for us to be bullish, tiny bit of a retracement, continuation higher, sell-side liquidity, continuation higher, right? Run sell-side liquidity, then seeking for more buy-side liquidity about this high, and maybe even further than that, like this one. And the text that I put on this one is that buy-side liquidity for a little bit of a more long-term type of thing. Maybe at that point we already have a bullish trend, or after taking a high like this, we could see a major reversal that either, as an example, something like this could happen. It just trades higher, takes a lot of buy-side liquidity, we see somewhat of a change in direction, a reversal, but then it just takes this low and then it continues going higher, right? There are multiple things that we can think could happen based on what we currently have. But at the time, what I would like to do, as I tend to do usually, is just to follow whatever the daily bias will tell us, right? What we have in the moment, right? If we go to a daily chart, I don't really believe we have much to use, if you want me to be honest, because we had this major impulse lower at the end of September, then a pretty big retracement on which I was expecting for price to go lower from this point, a somewhat aggressive move, a theoretical market shift in my opinion here, retracement, a little bit of a range through this past week, and this is exactly where we are. Now, as an example, if you ask me what makes the most sense based on the daily chart, what I want to think about is this, right? The major trend that is being respected, the fact that we have a high here, the fact that we are still within this fair value gap, maybe an order block even, and price could just take previous week's high, right? As you can see, it's right there, this high, previous week's high, take it as buy-side liquidity, and then maybe continue going lower. Maybe takes even this one, but again, if it goes higher than this couple of highs, honestly, I would actually think more that price is actually reaching to this one, right? Due to the fact that I don't know, it just seems much more what's the word? Much more possible at that point if price just continues taking highs as if it was nothing, right? It looks like basically there's no resistance when going higher, but there is resistance when going lower, right? So that's something that I'm considering, right? For me to be bearish, ideally we see this high being taken, an immediate retracement, or sorry, not retracement, reversal through a session, and then looking for previous week's low, which is all the way down here, right? Basically, this is the ranges that I would like to trade in. And what are we going to be doing in the meantime? In the meantime, I'm just going to be looking for the 5 steps to occur through a session, the New York kill zone as usually, and just work with that. If you want me to say what am I going to be looking for further away than the 5 steps that I do, I can't really say for sure, because again, bias is just not clear at all. If we look at it from the daily chart, my opinion, we're bearish, even though price action has become a little bit messy. From the 1 hour, the 4 hour, 2 hour, and lower things, we're definitely bullish, right? Because of this run of sell-side liquidity, the clear change in direction, retracement, continuation of the trend. This was a major retracement, right? But still, in something like the 1 hour, then the trend changes. If we go to the 1 hour as an example, actually go 1 hour. We have, this is bullish, then we have bearish price action, then bullish again, bullish, bearish, continues going bearish, a little bit of a bullish price action, then bearish, then bullish again, bullish, then bearish, takes sell-side liquidity, bullish price action, bearish price action again, takes sell-side liquidity, and then bullish price action once again. Right, so the trend, in my opinion, is pretty clear. We have impulses, retracement, impulses, retracements. There's a lot of sell-side liquidity being taken. So if we look at it again from the 1 hour, the 4 hour, maybe even, we can definitely expect bullish prices. Something that I'll keep in mind is 4 hour fair value gap. I keep in mind that this is an actual 48 pip range, right? So definitely, if something happens in here, or price actually pulls away a bit and then trades back into this, right? Maybe that's something that we could consider, but it's going to be a little bit complicated for me to be actually able to take advantage of me knowing that there's a 4-hour fair value gap. Reason why I tend not to look at the higher time frames, honestly. Now from other charts, the lower we go, the messier it gets, right? So we're not going to be looking into that. But basically this week, if you want me to be honest, I don't have a clear bias. I was pretty confident about the bearish bias for the past few weeks, but I've been completely wrong about it, right? I do believe that in the long term, we're likely going to see that, but not necessarily going to happen from now. Again, we could see price trading above this high to then go lower, maybe even above this high, or maybe even further than that to something like this, causing somewhat of a theoretical change in the trend in the daily chart, but then just turning it lower and seeing a continuation of that. Or again, maybe we just see a major reversal, and this is a low that is going to be respected for a couple of months, couple of years, who knows. At the time, what I'll be doing is looking for confluences through the session, sell side liquidity being taken, buy side liquidity being taken, the overall trend that we have in the moment, right? Maybe price just going lower, then we look at what happens, why is it going lower, and what is it reaching into. Maybe it's looking for previous day's low, previous day's high, liquidity, fair value gaps, anything that we can use as a potential target or an idea of how far price can actually go, right? Simply. And just use that, as I tend to do again, right? The weekly forecast that I do is to try and understand what the higher time frames might do this week, but 98% of the time I'm just looking at what's happening on the lower time frames, right? On the 50-minute, the 5-minute, and everything that I can use on that, honestly. So I think that's really all that I wanted to say on this video. Last week forecast that I'm going to be doing publicly. I was thinking about doing this just for the Discord group, but the private community, but decided to do it publicly as it hasn't started yet. Theoretically, again, it's forecast. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a pretty nice session, and we'll be talking soon enough. Goodbye.